There will be moments in life when someone will look straight through you, as if your voice carries no weight and your presence leaves no shadow. They will speak around you, dismiss you, or behave as though your existence is too small to matter. And in those quiet, painful moments, a question begins to whisper in the heart: am I truly invisible? But listen carefully, because the truth is far more powerful than the silence they offer you. No person on this earth has the authority to erase your worth. When someone treats you like you don't exist, it is not a reflection of your value, it is a revelation of their blindness. And the most powerful thing you can do in that moment is not to beg to be seen, but to rise, to remember who you are, and to carry yourself with a dignity so strong that the world will eventually have no choice but to notice. There is a quiet pain that settles in the heart when someone treats you as though you are invisible. It is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it comes in small moments, when your words are ignored, when your presence is overlooked, when someone acts as if you simply do not matter. In those moments, the mind begins to wander into dangerous territory. It starts asking questions that chip away at confidence. Maybe I'm not important. Maybe I'm not enough. But the truth is far deeper and far more powerful than that whisper of doubt. A person's inability to recognize your worth does not erase the value you carry within you. Too often we measure ourselves by the attention others give us. We wait for someone to acknowledge our efforts, to appreciate our presence, to confirm that we are worthy of respect. But when that recognition does not come, we begin to shrink ourselves. We grow quieter. We doubt our voice. We start believing that if someone cannot see us, perhaps we were never meant to be seen at all. Yet a mountain does not become smaller because someone refuses to look up. The stars do not dim because a passerby forgets to notice their light. Your worth works the same way. It exists independently of anyone's approval. Recognizing your worth begins with a quiet decision inside your own heart. It is the moment when you stop asking others to define your importance. It is the moment when you realize that your dignity, your strength, and your humanity do not require permission to exist. You are not valuable because someone applauds you. You are valuable because you are here, breathing, learning, growing, and carrying experiences that no one else on this earth possesses. That truth alone makes your existence meaningful. When someone treats you like you do not exist, the instinct is often to chase their attention. You try harder to be noticed. You speak louder, give more, prove more, hoping that eventually they will turn around and finally recognize you. But chasing acknowledgement from someone who refuses to see you is like knocking on a door that was never meant to open. The more you knock, the more exhausted you become. True strength appears when you realize that your energy deserves better places to live. There is a quiet confidence that grows when you truly understand your own worth. It does not shout or demand recognition. It simply stands tall, calm, and steady, like a tree deeply rooted in the earth. People may pass by without noticing it, but the tree still grows, still reaches for the sky, still becomes stronger with every season. In the same way, your value continues to grow even when someone fails to acknowledge it. So when you find yourself standing in the shadow of someone's indifference, remember this: their blindness does not define your light. Their silence does not silence your importance. The moment you recognize your own worth, you take back a power that no one else ever had the right to hold. And once that realization settles into your spirit, you will understand something life-changing. Being unseen by the wrong people is far less painful than forgetting to see your own value. There is a quiet strength in understanding that not every silence deserves your pursuit. When someone treats you as though you do not exist, the natural instinct is to try harder to be noticed. You may feel the urge to speak louder, to prove your worth, to show them all the reasons they should acknowledge you. But chasing someone's attention can slowly drain the dignity from your spirit. The more you reach for their recognition, the more power you unknowingly place into their hands. And before long, your sense of peace begins to depend on whether they decide to look your way. Attention, when forced, loses its meaning. Real respect is never begged for, and genuine appreciation is never chased. When a person truly values you, they will not need to be convinced to see you. Your presence will naturally matter to them. But when someone consistently overlooks you, the problem is not your lack of worth, it is their lack of awareness. And no amount of effort on your part can open the eyes of someone determined to keep them closed. Many people fall into the quiet trap of trying to earn the attention of those who ignore them. They give more time, more kindness, more patience, hoping that eventually something will change. They believe that if they just try a little harder, if they become a little better, they will finally be recognized. But the truth is that attention earned through exhaustion often comes without respect. When you constantly chase someone's acknowledgement, you unintentionally teach them that your presence will remain available even when they fail to value it. There is a powerful shift that happens the moment you decide to stop chasing. It is not an act of anger or bitterness. It is an act of self-respect. Instead of running after someone who refuses to see you, you begin to stand firmly in your own space. Your energy returns to you. Your peace becomes stronger. And suddenly, the need for their validation begins to lose its grip on your heart. When you stop chasing attention, something remarkable begins to happen. You start investing your time and energy into places where it truly belongs. You begin nurturing your own growth, your own passions, and your own peace of mind. And in doing so, you attract people who see your value without being asked to. These are the people who listen when you speak, who appreciate your presence, and who understand that your time and energy are meaningful. Life has a quiet way of revealing who deserves a place in your world. Those who truly value you will never require you to run after their attention. They will meet you with the same respect and awareness that you offer them. And those who continue to overlook you will slowly fade into the background of your journey, no longer holding the power to disturb your sense of worth. The truth is simple, yet powerful. Your dignity is far too valuable to be spent chasing someone's acknowledgement. The moment you stop running after attention is the moment you begin walking towards self-respect. And when you walk with that kind of quiet confidence, you no longer need to beg the world to notice you, because your presence will speak for itself. There is a powerful truth that many people take years to understand. The way someone treats you often reveals far more about their character than it ever could about your worth. When a person ignores you, disrespects you, or behaves as though you are invisible, it is easy to believe that the fault must somehow belong to you. The mind begins to search for explanations. Did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Am I not good enough? But most of the time, the answers to those questions have very little to do with you at all. They have everything to do with the heart, maturity, and values of the person standing in front of you. Every human being carries their inner world wherever they go. Their kindness, their insecurities, their empathy, their arrogance. These things quietly shape how they treat others. A person who is secure within themselves often shows respect easily. They listen, they acknowledge, they treat others with a basic sense of humanity. But someone who is struggling with their own pride, jealousy, or lack of emotional depth may behave very differently. Instead of offering respect, they may dismiss others, ignore them, or try to make them feel small. Not because the other person deserves it, but because their own character has not yet grown strong enough to offer something better. When someone treats you like you do not exist, it can feel deeply personal. Yet in many cases, their behavior is simply a reflection of their own limitations. Some people have never learned how to value others. Some are too focused on themselves to notice the people around them. Others carry unresolved frustrations that spill into their interactions with everyone they meet. Their actions become a mirror of their inner state, not a measurement of your value. Understanding this truth can be incredibly freeing. Instead of absorbing every negative action as proof that something is wrong with you, You begin to see it as information about the other person. Their behavior becomes a window into their character. The way they speak, the way they listen or fail to listen, reveals the kind of person they are choosing to be in that moment. This does not mean you must judge them harshly or carry bitterness in your heart. It simply means you stop internalizing what was never yours to carry. You stop allowing someone else's lack of awareness to become a burden on your self-worth. When you understand that their behavior reflects their character, you release yourself from the endless cycle of self-doubt. In time, this perspective also helps you become more observant about the people you allow close to your life. You begin to notice patterns. You recognize who treats others with kindness, even when nothing is gained in return. You see who acknowledges people regardless of status or advantage. And you also see who dismisses others the moment they believe someone has nothing to offer them. These small moments reveal character more clearly than words ever could. And once you understand this, you gain a quiet wisdom. You stop trying to force respect from those who do not naturally give it. Instead, you simply take note of who they are and you decide how much space they deserve in your world. Because in the end, someone's behavior is always telling a story, and when a person shows you through their actions that they cannot see your value, they are not describing you, they are revealing themselves. There will be moments in life when the room feels crowded, yet you somehow feel unseen. Conversations move around you, laughter fills the air, and still it feels as if your presence passes quietly through the space without acknowledgement. In those moments, it is easy to feel smaller than you truly are. The shoulders sink a little, the voice becomes softer, and the mind begins to question whether it is better to simply disappear into the background. But there is a different choice available in that moment, a quieter and far more powerful response: to stand tall in your own presence. Standing tall does not mean demanding attention or forcing others to recognize you. It is not about proving anything to anyone in the room. It is something far more internal than that. It is the quiet decision to respect yourself even when others fail to show that same respect. It is the calm understanding that your dignity does not depend on applause, acknowledgement, or approval. You exist with worth simply because you are here, living your story with courage and resilience. When people overlook you, the temptation is to shrink your energy to match their indifference. Many people do this without even realizing it. They stop sharing their thoughts, they hold back their ideas, they silence parts of their personality that once felt vibrant. Over time, they begin to believe that staying small is safer than being fully present. But shrinking yourself for the comfort of others slowly erodes the very confidence that makes you who you are. Standing tall in your own presence is the opposite of that quiet surrender. It means you continue to carry yourself with grace, even when no one is watching closely. You maintain the same calm strength, whether you are praised or ignored. Your posture, your tone, your presence all speak a silent message to the world that your value does not rise and fall with the opinions of others. There is something deeply powerful about a person who holds their dignity in this way. They do not argue for recognition, yet their presence becomes difficult to overlook. Their confidence is not loud or aggressive. It is steady, composed, and rooted in self-respect. People may not always understand where that strength comes from, but they can feel it. Grace plays an important role in this strength. When someone treats you as though you do not exist, anger and resentment can easily grow in the heart. But grace allows you to rise above that reaction. It allows you to move through the situation without losing your sense of calm. Instead of reacting with bitterness, you simply continue being yourself, steady, thoughtful, and grounded in your own worth. Over time, this quiet confidence transforms how you experience the world. You begin to realize that being overlooked by some people does not diminish your presence at all. The right people will notice your character without being asked to. They will recognize your sincerity, your strength, and the calm dignity you carry. And even when they do not, something within you will remain steady. Because once you learn to stand tall in your own presence, you no longer depend on the world to remind you that you matter. You already know it within yourself. There is a moment that often arrives quietly after rejection, a moment when the heart begins to understand something it could not see before. At first, being ignored can feel like a wound. It can leave you wondering why your presence was not valued, why your words seemed to pass through the air without landing anywhere. But time has a way of softening that pain and revealing a deeper truth. Sometimes what feels like rejection is simply life guiding you away from places where your spirit was never meant to stay. Many people spend years trying to earn a place in rooms that were never built for them. They try to adapt, to fit themselves into expectations that do not truly reflect who they are. They tolerate being overlooked, hoping that one day things will change and their value will finally be recognized. But the truth is that belonging cannot be forced. Respect cannot grow in soil that was never prepared to nurture it. When someone ignores you or treats you as though you do not exist, it may feel painful in the moment, but it can also be a quiet signal that your presence deserves a different environment. Rejection, when seen through a different lens, becomes less of a punishment and more of a redirection. It gently closes one path so that another can open. It moves you away from people who cannot appreciate your voice and closer to those who will welcome it. But this shift in perspective requires courage. It asks you to stop measuring your worth by the acceptance of others and begin measuring it by the respect you hold for yourself. Self-respect grows in the space where you stop begging to be valued. It grows the moment you decide that your dignity matters more than someone else's approval. Instead of chasing people who overlook you, you begin to protect your time, your energy, and your emotional peace. You understand that your presence is not something to be offered endlessly to those who fail to recognize it. This transformation does not happen overnight. The human heart naturally longs to be seen and appreciated, but slowly, with reflection and patience, the pain of rejection can turn into clarity. You start to notice the difference between people who merely tolerate you and those who truly welcome you. You begin to recognize that the right company does not make you feel invisible. The right company listens, respects, and values your presence without hesitation. As this realization grows, rejection loses its power to wound you deeply. Instead, it becomes information. It becomes a quiet reminder that not every connection is meant to last, and not every door deserves to remain open. Some doors close so that you can step toward spaces where your spirit feels lighter and more at home. In time, you may even look back on moments when you felt ignored and realize they were guiding you somewhere better. The people who overlooked you helped reveal the kind of environment you no longer wish to remain in. Their indifference pushed you toward a deeper respect for yourself and a clearer understanding of what you deserve. And when rejection finally transforms into self-respect, something remarkable happens. You stop seeing yourself as someone who was left out. Instead, you begin to see yourself as someone who was quietly redirected toward a place where your presence will truly matter. There comes a time in life when you begin to notice a quiet pattern in the way people listen. In some places, your words land gently and are welcomed. People pause, they consider what you say, and there is a sense that your voice has weight in the room. But in other places, your words drift into the air and vanish before they ever reach another heart. You speak, yet no one truly listens. You share your thoughts, yet they pass unnoticed, as if your voice were only a distant echo. In moments like these, it is easy to believe that perhaps you should speak louder, try harder, or explain yourself again and again until someone finally pays attention. But wisdom begins the moment you realize that not every room deserves your voice. Your voice carries your experiences, your understanding, your feelings, and your truth. It is shaped by the lessons you have learned, the struggles you have survived, and the growth you have worked so hard to achieve. It is not something ordinary or disposable, yet many people unknowingly spend their lives offering this powerful gift in places where it is repeatedly ignored. They keep speaking to people who refuse to hear them, hoping that one day those ears will suddenly open. The truth, however, is that listening is not something you can force. A person must choose to hear you. They must care enough to pause and consider your words. When someone has already decided not to listen, repeating yourself does not suddenly change their heart. It only drains your energy and slowly convinces you that your voice is less important than it truly is. Learning to speak only where you are heard is not an act of pride. It is an act of self-respect. It means recognizing that your thoughts and feelings deserve attention just like anyone else's. It means understanding that communication should never feel like a constant battle for acknowledgement. When people value you, they create space for your voice naturally. They do not treat your words like interruptions. Instead, they treat them as part of the conversation. This realization often brings a quiet shift in the way you move through the world. Instead of trying to convince everyone to listen, you become more mindful about where you place your energy. You begin to notice the people who genuinely hear you, the ones who lean in when you speak, the ones who ask questions and show interest in your perspective. These people remind you that being heard should not feel rare or difficult. At the same time, you start stepping back from spaces where your voice constantly falls into silence, not with anger and not with bitterness, but with calm awareness. You simply understand that your presence deserves environments where it can breathe freely. There is no need to argue with those who refuse to listen, because their silence already reveals their choice. When you begin speaking only where you are heard, something powerful happens within you. Your words become stronger, your confidence grows steadier, and your energy returns to you instead of being scattered in places that cannot appreciate it. You stop feeling invisible because you are no longer standing in rooms that treat you that way. And slowly, you realize a beautiful truth. Your voice was never the problem. The only mistake was offering it to people who never intended to listen. There is a quiet habit many people carry without realizing it. They measure their worth by the reactions of others. A compliment can brighten their entire day, while a moment of silence or indifference can quietly shake their confidence. When someone praises them, they feel valued. When someone ignores them, they begin to question themselves. Over time, this invisible dependence becomes exhausting because their sense of worth rises and falls with every opinion that surrounds them. The truth is that seeking validation is a very human desire. Every heart wants to feel seen, appreciated, and understood. From the time we are young, we learn to look for signs that we are doing well: approval from parents, encouragement from teachers, recognition from friends. These moments shape our confidence and help us grow. But somewhere along the journey, many people begin to rely on this approval far more than they realize. They begin to believe that without recognition, their efforts do not truly matter. When someone treats you like you do not exist, that hidden dependence on validation suddenly becomes visible. Their silence can feel heavy. Their indifference can create doubt where confidence once lived. It can make you wonder if something about you is lacking, if perhaps you are not interesting enough, strong enough, or important enough to be acknowledged. But the deeper truth is that confidence cannot survive if it constantly waits for someone else to confirm it. Real confidence grows in a different way. It grows when you begin to understand yourself without needing constant reassurance from the outside world. It grows when your belief in your own value becomes steady, even in the absence of applause. Just like a tree that continues to grow in the quiet forest, far from crowds and recognition, your strength develops through your own awareness of who you are. When approval becomes your oxygen, every moment of silence feels like you cannot breathe. But when you grow beyond the need for validation, something remarkable happens. You begin to breathe freely again. You stop searching every face for signs of approval. You stop wondering whether your presence has been noticed. Instead, you move through the world with a calm understanding that your worth does not disappear simply because someone failed to acknowledge it. This shift does not mean you stop appreciating kindness or encouragement. Positive words will always feel warm and meaningful, but they are no longer the foundation of your confidence. They become pleasant additions rather than necessities. Your self respect stands on something deeper: your values, your growth, and the quiet knowledge that you are living with honesty and intention. As this mindset grows stronger, the behavior of others begins to lose its power over your emotions. Someone ignoring you no longer shakes your sense of identity. Someone overlooking your presence no longer convinces you that you are invisible. Instead, you recognize that your existence carries meaning far beyond any single person's attention. And in that moment, something beautiful takes root inside you. Confidence stops depending on applause. Self-worth stops asking for permission. You no longer need the world to constantly remind you that you matter, because you have already learned how to remind yourself. There is a quiet kind of power that comes from living authentically, a power that does not beg for attention and does not chase recognition. It simply exists, steady and radiant, like a candle in a dark room. When someone treats you as though you do not exist, the natural reaction is to dim that light. You begin to question whether shining so brightly is worth it if no one seems to notice. But the truth is that your light was never meant to be reduced by someone else's blindness. It was meant to grow, to expand, and to illuminate your path regardless of who is watching. Living fully means refusing to shrink yourself for the comfort of others. It means allowing your personality, your ideas, and your passions to breathe freely without constantly worrying about how they will be received. Too many people spend their lives quietly adjusting themselves to fit into spaces where they feel barely acknowledged. They soften their voice, hide their talents, and hold back their enthusiasm in hopes of blending in. But when you hide the very qualities that make you unique, you slowly lose the energy that makes you feel alive. Authenticity is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about alignment between who you are inside and how you show up in the world. When your actions match your values, when your words reflect your truth, and when your choices honor the person you are becoming, a quiet confidence begins to grow. This kind of confidence does not need to demand attention because it naturally draws respect. People can sense when someone is comfortable in their own skin. There is something unforgettable about a person who lives with that kind of honesty. They are not trying to impress the room, yet their presence carries a quiet magnetism. They laugh freely, speak sincerely, and pursue the things that matter to them without apology. Their authenticity becomes their signature. Even in moments of silence, their presence leaves an impression because it comes from a place of genuine self-acceptance. When someone once treated you as though you were invisible, it can be tempting to prove them wrong. But living fully is not about proving your worth to those who overlooked you. It is about refusing to let their indifference shape the way you see yourself. Your energy deserves to be invested in growth, creativity, connection, and experiences that expand your spirit. The more you invest in these things, the brighter your presence naturally becomes. Over time, something remarkable begins to happen. The same world that once seemed indifferent starts responding differently. New opportunities appear, new relationships form, and new spaces open where your presence is welcomed. Not because you demanded attention, but because authenticity has a way of drawing the right people toward it. Even more importantly, you begin to feel a deeper sense of peace within yourself. You no longer feel the need to force recognition or prove that you belong. You understand that your value is expressed through the way you live, the kindness you show, the courage you carry, and the truth you embody each day. And that is how a person becomes unforgettable, not by demanding the world's attention, but by living with such honesty, warmth, and purpose that their presence quietly leaves a mark wherever they go.